Hey guys, it's Rachel. Today I'm here to do my February wrap-up. This month I read 8 books and 3 comic books, so it was a really great reading month for me. I am so happy. So hopefully this will continue on in March. We'll see what happens. The first book I read in February is The Bane Chronicles by Cassandra Clare, Sarah Rees Brennan and Maureen Johnson. This is a collection of 11 short stories following different parts of Magnus Bane's life. If you don't know already, Magnus Bane is a character from both the Mortal Instruments and the Infernal Devices series by Cassandra Clare. So he is my favourite character in both series. I love him so much. He is a warlock and he's just hilarious. He's amazing. I love him so much. He's so sassy and just hilarious. He really makes you laugh. I just love him so much. And it was really great reading different parts of his life. We see him meeting Camille Belcourt. We see him and Alex's first date. We see a load of other things. I don't want to say too much, but if you really like Magnus Bane, I suggest you read this because it was so much fun. There were a few stories I liked a lot more than others, but obviously that's always going to happen. But overall, it was a really great read. I gave this 4 out of 5 stars on Goodreads. The next book I read is Only Ever Yours by Louise O'Neill. This book follows our main character Frida, who is called an Eve. Basically, women are designed and created, they're not born, and they're called Eves. So we follow Frida, and basically she and the other Eves are trying to look as physically attractive as possible, so the men will choose them to be companions. I really did not like this book. I gave it, I think, 1 star on Goodreads, maybe 2. I think it was 1. I just really hated it. I couldn't handle reading all the fat shaming and all the abuse towards each other. All the Eves just judge each other so harshly and just say horrible things to each other, and I just found it very disheartening to read. I just couldn't imagine being in that situation. I did not like this. I didn't like the writing. I hated the characters. I couldn't understand this at all. I didn't really get what this book was trying to accomplish, especially the ending. I thought maybe the ending, I nearly gave up on this. I read 60 pages and nearly DNF'd it, but I didn't because I thought maybe the ending will save it. It didn't. The ending was just as bad as the rest of the book. I just could not enjoy this. I know a lot of people did, and I'm not saying that anyone shouldn't read this. If you're interested in the plot, I suggest you definitely pick it up and check it out. Maybe you'll like it a lot more than I did. I just could not enjoy this, and I don't think I'll be picking up Louise O'Neill's other book, Asking for It, even though it's on my TBR, but I don't really know. I'm undecided for the moment. I just could not get into this at all. Next, I read 3 Doctor Who comic books. These were all really fun to read. I particularly loved this one. This one was my absolute favourite. These two both have the 12th Doctor, which is Peter Capaldi, and then this one is the 10th Doctor, which is David Tennant. I love both Doctors, so I loved reading all 3 of these. I really want to read more of the Doctor Who comics because they're just so enjoyable. You just sit down and you just feel so chilled reading them. It's just so much fun. And anyone who knows me knows Doctor Who is my absolute life. I have a good few Doctor Who posters up on my wall, as well as other Doctor Who merch. I have my TARDIS here that's sitting on my windowsill. I absolutely love it. So these were presents from my boyfriend's mum and sister from Australia. So I just love them so much. They were so much fun to read. I definitely hope to get more because these were really great. The next book I read in February is The Book Thief by Marcus Zuzak. I only found out after putting this on my February TBR that it's actually the Booksplosion Book of the Month. This is basically a live show that Jessie the Reader, Katie Tastic and Paula Banana's Books all do a live show every month, and they basically talk about a book they've all read that month. So this was the book for February, so I watched their live show and it was so great. I just love those 3 so much, and since I had just read this along with them, it was really great to just watch the live show and see their opinions, and I pretty much agree with all their opinions. This book was so great, and that's basically their same opinion. This book follows our main character Liesel, who is a young girl in Nazi Germany, and basically she has foster parents she stays with, she makes new friends. This basically just follows her life, really. We see different events happen. The most interesting part about this book is that it's narrated by Death, which is definitely a very unique concept. I thought it was really cool reading him telling the story. He's just such a strange narrator, but I just loved it so much. I loved this book. I gave it 5 out of 5 on Goodreads. It was just so beautiful. I don't really go for historical fiction, but after reading this I definitely think I'll go for more because I loved this so much. I really want to read Marcus Zuzak's other book, I Am the Messenger, so I hope to read that soon. This book was just beautiful, so beautiful, so emotional. I cried my eyes out. It's just amazing. I haven't watched the movie yet. I have I'm assuming it's nowhere near as good as this, but I actually do want to give it a watch. Haven't heard many people talk about the movie, but we'll see what happens. I really think all of you should pick this up and read it because it is amazing. The next book I read is Landline by Rainbow Rowell. Rainbow Rowell is one of my favourite authors of all time, and this is the only book I hadn't read by her yet, so I finally picked it up. It definitely wasn't my favourite of her books. It was actually just okay. I think I gave it 3 out of 5 on Goodreads. It was okay, it wasn't terrible, but I didn't love it either. This book basically follows our main character Georgie, and her marriage with her husband is kind of going downhill, bad things are happening, and she wants to fix it. So basically she finds a magic telephone that she can use to ring the past. So she basically talks to a younger version of her husband on this magic telephone, and basically she's just trying to fix everything. This book kind of, I don't know, parts of it were frustrating. I think that was mainly because the main character Georgie, I just didn't really like her that much. She kind of annoyed me at times. She was just constantly complaining, and I know she has good reason to, but it was just hard to it was just hard to read. I also wasn't really satisfied with the ending in this book. I know how I would have ended it, but that's just me. I wanted a completely different ending. I didn't get it, so yeah, this book, I'm glad I read it, but it wasn't really the best. As I said, I think I gave it 3 out of 5 on Goodreads. But as always, Rainbow Rowell's writing is always amazing. The next book I read is The Infinite Sea by Rick Yancey. This is the second book in the Fifth Wave series. The Last Star, which is the third and final book in the trilogy, is going to be coming out in May, I think. Could be wrong? No, I think it is May. The Fifth Wave was one of my favourite books of all time. I absolutely love it. And then this book was actually quite a disappointment. I think I gave it 3 out of 5 on Goodreads, whereas I gave The Fifth Wave 5 out of 5, so this is a huge letdown. It's also so much shorter than The Fifth Wave, like 200 pages shorter, so that was kind of weird. But yeah, this book just, the main thing I had a problem with was just, it kind of felt like a filler. Like nothing really important happened except for the big plot twist at the end, but other than that, it wasn't really that important. I feel like this is just sort of a filler before the last book in the trilogy comes out, which is kind of annoying. I also didn't like that a huge part of this book was actually Ringer's point of view, because I wanted more of Cassie and Evan, and I didn't really get enough, so yeah, this book wasn't as good as I hoped it to be. The next book I read is The Raven Boys by Maggie Stiefvater. Everyone talks about this on BookTube. It has really good ratings. I was really excited to pick this up, and it just blew my mind. I absolutely loved it. I know a lot of people complain about Maggie Stiefvater's writing style, but I adapted to it pretty quickly and I really enjoyed it. I also really loved how unique this book was. I thought it was just the most interesting, most unique book, YA book I've ever read. I can't compare it to anything else because it's just so different. The characters in this were amazing, particularly the Raven Boys themselves. They were just so unique, and I loved their friendship and how they like look after each other and just love each other so much. And the plot twists in this book were just so shocking. I didn't see it coming at all. I just love this book so much. I gave it 5 out of 5 on Goodreads. I am so excited to read the next book, The Dream Thieves, and I really want to read that and Blue Lily Lily Blue before The Raven King comes out, because I want to be excited and read it along with everyone else. So I definitely recommend you guys reading this book. It basically follows our main character Blue, who is a psychic's daughter, and she meets the Raven Boys, and they're like on a mission basically to find these things called ley lines, which are kind of lines of energy that connect spiritual places, and they're trying to find a dead king named Glendower. And because apparently if you find him, he grants you favours. So that's what this book is about. The synopsis in the back tells a completely different story. Like, if you read the synopsis, it is not what this book is about. It makes it sound like a romance, which it isn't. I mean, there is romance in it, but it's definitely not the main plot of the story. So the synopsis completely threw me off. It's nothing like the book at all, really. But anyway, besides that, this book, just read it. It's so good. I love it so much. The next book I read in February is Vicious by V.E. Schwab. Everybody on BookTube talks about V.E. Schwab. I'm like the only person who before this hasn't read a book by her, and now I have. And I definitely see where everyone's coming from. Her writing style is very unique, very gripping and suspenseful. This book basically follows our main characters Victor and Eli. And this book flicks between the past and the present. So the past chapters tell the story of those two in college and how they're like best friends. Then the present chapters, they have superpowers and they are sworn enemies. So you're wondering as you read this book what happened between them. And it's just so exciting, so suspenseful, a few twists here and there. It's just really gripping. I just loved it so much. it really draws you in and it's hard to put down at times. There were a few times in this where I felt it was going a bit slow, but other than that it was really great. I'm definitely excited to pick up more of V.E. Schwab's books. This apparently is a standalone, although I saw on Goodreads that apparently there's a second book coming out. I'm not sure if that's entirely true, but we'll see. Personally, I prefer this just as a standalone. I think it ended perfectly, but I trust V.E. Schwab if she is bringing another book out. And the last book I read in February is The Accident Season by Moira Fowley-Doyle. I actually have a signed copy of this. Signed? Yeah, it's signed by Moira Fowley-Doyle herself. Although I actually didn't really enjoy this book that much. I think I gave it 2 out of 5 on Goodreads. Could be wrong, maybe 2.5. No, I'm pretty sure it was 2. It was just not that great. I expected so much more. I'd heard good things about it and I just didn't think it lived up to my expectations. This book follows our main character Cara, and every October her family goes through the accident season where just a load of bad things happen. People have died, they break bones, just a load of different accidents, and Cara's wondering why, like, how did this even happen? It's kind of a mystery and it's interesting at times. Like, you are kind of wondering what's going on and you want to know what happens, but I didn't think the ending satisfied me. I thought the twist wasn't very exciting or very unique. The writing wasn't terrible. I definitely think I'd read another of Moira Fowley-Doyle's books if she is bringing out more, or if she has some, I actually don't know. The one thing I did love about this book is that it takes place in Ireland, so all the places mentioned I've more than likely been there before, or I know about them because I obviously live in Ireland, so that was really great. Other than that, I didn't think this book was anything special. Also, the main relationship in this book was really strange, and just I did not enjoy reading it at all. It's just kind of a little bit disturbing. I just couldn't connect with those two at all. I'm not going to say who it is or anything, of course, but it just, I didn't like it. I didn't ship it at all. So that is The Accident Season. So I ended February on a book that I didn't enjoy, which I hate doing, but oh well. So those are all the books I read in February. I hope to have another great reading month in March, so hopefully it goes well. I shall see you guys soon with another video. Slán live!